Thanks for tuning in to this week's news recap. Ronin will be reimbursing users. 8 days after losing $600 million to the largest exploit in DeFi history, Sky Mavis announced plans to reimburse all affected Ronin network bridge users. Sky Mavis will be raising $150 million in a funding round led by Binance, with participation from Animoca Brands, A16Z, and others. That $150 million in cash, along with balance sheet funds already owned by Sky Mavis, will replace the 173,600 Ether and 25.5 million USDC that was drained from the Ronin bridge last week in a social engineering attack that saw 4 of Sky Mavis-run validators and a third-party validator run by DAO compromised. The news comes just a few months after the Wormhole Bridge announced a similar reimbursement funding round from Jump Crypto following a $300 million exploit. In the aftermath, Ronin Bridge will be upgrading its security, which previously relied on only 5 out of 9 validator confirmations for a transaction to go through. According to a Sky Mavis blog post, the new validator group will be upped to 21 validators in the next 3 months, split amongst various stakeholders rather than just Sky Mavis. Ronin Bridge, which was shut down in the aftermath of last week's hack, will go live after a round of upgrades and audits that could take weeks. Meanwhile, Binance will be supporting ETH withdrawals and deposits from Ronin. Interestingly, the 56,000 ETH drained from DAO will not be fully reimbursed by Binance or Sky Mavis's balance sheet. Instead, Sky Mavis explained, the 56,000 ETH compromised from the DAO treasury will remain under-collateralized as Sky Mavis works with law enforcement to recover the funds. If the funds are not fully recovered within 2 years, the DAO will vote on next steps for the Treasury. In related news, the Ronin Bridge hacker was active this week, moving roughly $7 million through the coin mixer Tornado Cash. Stablecoins are coming to Bitcoin. Lightning Labs, a Lightning Network developer, announced a new protocol this week, dubbed Taro, which aims to make Bitcoin's Layer 2 solution a multi-asset network, as explained by Lightning Labs CEO Elizabeth Stark in a blog post. In essence, Taro's purpose is to Bitcoinize the dollar, Stark wrote. With Taro, developers will be able to issue assets on the Bitcoin blockchain and then move them onto Lightning for speed and scalability, making use of Bitcoin liquidity to ensure interoperability between assets. Notably, according to Stark, Taro will also allow assets like stablecoins to route through the Bitcoin network via Lightning. Interestingly, Taro was only recently made possible by Bitcoin's Taproot upgrade, which made significant improvements to contracting, security, and efficiency for the chain. Fun fact, the launch of Taro was on April 5th, aka Satoshi's birthday, the same day that Roosevelt ordered U.S. citizens to return gold worth more than $100 for fiat in 1933. Major raises was the theme of the week. Crypto funding continued its rampant pace this week. In conjunction with the Taro announcement, Lightning Labs raised $70 million in a Series B funding round led by Valor Equity Partners and Bailey Gifford. Other participants included Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev, crypto infrastructure firm NYDIG, and Brevin Howard. Lightning Labs did not disclose the valuation. Binance US raised a $200 million funding round at a valuation of $4.5 billion pre-money. The blog reports that a Binance US spokesperson revealed that the exchange wants to raise more in the coming months and plans to go public in the next 2 to 3 years. Near Protocol announced a second 9-digit raise in under 3 months on Wednesday. The protocol is bringing in $350 million in a round led by Tiger Global to decentralize the Near ecosystem. Near Foundation announced a $150 million raise in mid-January to support DeFi development. Disclosure, Near Protocol is a previous sponsor of this podcast. Boba Network, an Ethereum scaling solution, secured $45 million in a Series A, giving the protocol a unicorn valuation of $1.5 billion. Blockchain security firm Certic announced an $88 million funding round that saw participation from traditional behemoths like Tiger Global, Goldman Sachs, and Sequoia Capital. Certic is now valued at $2 billion. Crypto payments firm Wire was acquired by Bolt in a deal valued at roughly $1.5 billion, reports The Block. The UK plans to be a global crypto leader. On Tuesday, Rishi Sunak, the UK's Chancellor, laid out plans to make the UK a global crypto asset technology hub. The UK is set to make moves to regulate stablecoins, introduce an infrastructure sandbox for crypto firms to experiment, establish a crypto asset engagement group, and explore UK crypto taxes. Notably, the UK announced that the Royal Mint would be creating an NFT project this summer. "It's my ambition to make the UK a global hub for crypto asset technology," said Sunak. Somewhat contradictorily, the news comes as the UK's Financial Conduct Authority is reluctant to give firms such as blockchain.com anti-money laundering licenses, leading many firms to pull out of the crypto asset licensing process. Another week, another multi-million-dollar hack. Inverse Finance, an Ethereum lending protocol, lost $15 million to an exploit this week, making it the 34th largest hack in the DeFi space, according to Rekt. The manipulation was not a flash loan attack and was unrelated to Inverse's smart contract or front-end code, wrote the team. Instead, the hack involved a capital-intensive manipulation of the INV/ETH pair price oracle on SushiSwap. Once the oracle was tricked into showing a fraudulently high price for INV, the hacker was able to borrow $15.6 million worth of DOLA, WBTC, and Wi-Fi. For those of you who missed out on this week's episode of The Chopping Block, I recommend listening as Tarun Chitra and Tom Schmidt do a great job of explaining how the price manipulation worked and how the hacker pulled it off in a single block. The Inverse Finance team has committed to reimbursing all affected users and is currently trying to figure out the most efficient way to repay users without affecting the peg of DOLA, Inverse Finance's algorithmic stablecoin. The headline for this section could have been about a multi-billion-dollar hack. According to OpenZeppelin, the security firm uncovered and resolved a bug on Convex Finance that could have resulted in a $15 billion rug pull due to how Convex's multisig was configured. Again, for more information, watch this week's episode of The Chopping Block, which talks about how OpenZeppelin forced Convex Finance to add members to its multisig before revealing the critical bug. The SEC approved a new Bitcoin ETF, but the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission approved a new Bitcoin futures ETF from NYSE Arca and Teucrium on Wednesday, as reported by CoinDesk. Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas called it a good sign regarding the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF because previous Bitcoin futures ETFs were approved under the Investment Company Act of 1940, while the NYSE Arca and Teucrium ETF is the first Bitcoin futures ETF to gain approval from the SEC under the Securities Act of 1933. This is a market change. According to an early January thread from Bloomberg's James Seifert, the approval of an ETF under the 1933 Act would hinder some of the SEC's arguments against spot Bitcoin ETFs due to CME futures not being of significant size, subject to manipulation, etc. Interestingly, Seifert notes that the pricing methodology for futures and spot Bitcoin ETFs will be the same, meaning the futures the SEC has approved are based on the pricing from exchanges that they say are subject to manipulation. In related SEC crypto news, SEC Chair Gary Gensler called for further SEC oversight on stablecoins in a speech on April 4th. The three largest stablecoins were created by trading or lending platforms themselves, and U.S. retail investors have no direct right of redemption for the two largest stablecoins by market capitalization. There are conflicts of interest and market integrity questions that would benefit from more oversight, said Gensler. During the same speech, Gensler revealed that the SEC is working with the CFTC to potentially split duties regarding crypto purview. I've asked staff to work with the Commodities Future Trading Commission on how we jointly might address such platforms that might trade both crypto-based security tokens and some commodity tokens, said Gensler. FTX US CEO Brian Harrison told the Decrypt Daily podcast that the exchange is holding back from listing assets due to regulatory uncertainty regarding crypto tokens and securities law, which is spearheaded by the SEC. FTX US only supports 27 assets in comparison to FTX's 322. According to new guidelines, the SEC wants crypto exchanges to treat customer crypto holdings as liabilities on their balance sheet. In related news, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen made her first speech about digital assets on Thursday, in which he called crypto transformative. Bitcoin 2022. Bitcoin's annual conference in Miami took place this week. In an on-brand move, the festivities were kicked off with Miami Mayor Francis Suarez unveiling an 11-foot, 3,000-pound, laser-eyed robot bull statue. The event features speakers such as Peter Thiel, Jordan Peterson, and Jack Mallers. However, one prominent speaker, El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele, canceled his appearance at the event due to unforeseen circumstances in his home country. On Thursday, Bitcoin 2022 experienced its first big announcement when Robinhood Chief Product Officer Aparna Chennapragada told the audience that the trading platform had activated crypto wallet functionality for 2 million customers. Users will now be able to send BTC, ETH, and Doge to self-custodied wallets. Robinhood will also add support for Lightning Network. In other Bitcoin news, two of the most prominent SAT stackers did what they do best this week. They bought more Bitcoin. On April 5th, MacroStrategy, the subsidiary of MicroStrategy, purchased an additional 4,167 BTC, or $190 million worth. And on the 6th, Luna Foundation Guard added roughly 5,040 BTC, or $231 million, to its $1 billion plus stack. In related Terra news, Terraform Labs announced a $100 million token swap of Luna to AVAX on Thursday between Terraform and Avalanche Foundation. Time for fun bits. A Novel DAO Experiment. TweetDAO caught my attention this week due to a fun twist on NFT utility. The DAO sold a batch of 1,000 NFTs, each depicting the iconic Twitter egg, giving holders the ability to tweet once per day from the official TweetDAO Twitter account, with absolutely no restrictions. As this is crypto Twitter, the content is still a bit unhinged, but somewhat humorous. The NFTs, for those interested, are selling for a floor price of 0.319 ETH. For those who need a smile, I would recommend giving TweetDAO's feed a scroll. It's quite funny. Thanks so much for joining us today. To learn more about Kevin, Galois, and stablecoins, check out the show notes for this episode. Unchained is produced by me, Laura Shin, with help from Anthony Yoon, Daniel Nuss, Mark Murdoch, Shashank, and CLK Transcription. Thanks for listening.